I am in my world when I'm in my studio. I feel very happy when I do that, very happy. My painting has been described as abstract expressionism. That's what the educated people call it. But for me, it was just painting.
What I love about Alex's art is exactly this kind of incomprehensible kind of abstraction. It's the kind of an abstraction which, at the same time, when you keep looking at it, you see different images and see different visions. And it's like you're restructuring your whole world, and the world is sort of shifting in colors and lines in front of your face. It's a beautiful work.
They say this the lifeline of the white buffalo. When the white buffalo returns, our cultures are going to come back to us.
Alex Janvier was one of the first founding members of what was called the Indian Group of Seven in 1973, when 7 different indigenous artists got together to paint Canada from an original, Aboriginal and an indigenous point of view, the kind of images that they see rather than that white people see, to try and capture the indigenous images of the Canadian world.
I was about 3 or 4 years old, and I would see my brothers and sisters, after rain, the ground would be nice and level, and they used to use sticks to make drawings, you know. Right after rain, that's what I would do. That was my slate, and that's how I began.
Well, Alex Janvier is of great importance because he came through the residential school system when he was 8 years old, and it was while there that he discovered and he worked on his art.
You wouldn't believe it. We had to carry permits just to go to town, you know. My stay at the residential school wasn't exactly what I expected. It was rigid and it was very religious, and it took away my central training by the elders. They rubbed that right out. They almost took my language away, but my language was well spoken in my parents' house, so we were very well educated in our own language. So I still can speak it fluently with the rest of my siblings. And all the adversity that I experienced, the art is what got me through the rough times, through the times when it was tough to live like a native. It took me away from the rigidity of the rules and regulations. For about 3 hours in the afternoon on Friday, I would be lost in the world of art. And that was like healing for me. And I really love that. The inspiration was really thinking back on Primrose and Cold Lake and, you know, my people, because I longed for them, you know, so I would paint about them, you know, not their facial feature, but whatever I painted was always in relation to the designs I learned from them and what I've seen, observed, and so on. And I put it down on paper. The show became a major breakthrough, not only for the natives, but also for Canada, because for the first time, the few major written materials pertain to the art rather than the native. It talked about the art by the artist. It really dated it for today rather than something in the past.
This massive work of Ironfoot Place in the arena, designed and made while he was in his 80s, is an example of his enormous energy and talent and ability.
The Roger Place arena was a gift. Honestly, it was a gift to be able to do that and to have my piece of work on the floor. I couldn't believe that my work could look that good. even on the floor. So I've done ceilings, I've done walls, now I've done the floor.
Alex is a trailblazer not only in Alberta but in Canada as a whole, because he was one of that group of 7 that joined in '73. But by that time he was already painting in ways that had never been painted in Alberta before. And this is what's so delightful about him, because he expressed that artistry that is there in the Indigenous people in such a vivid way that nobody could deny it. He is truly an amazing artist and certainly the outstanding painter that Alberta has had in the last 50 years.
I'd like Alex Janvier to be remembered as a painter, as a native, as a Canadian. When I leave this earth, I would like to have a paintbrush instead of a cross in my coffin, you know. Even if they cross 2 like that, just, but there should be a paintbrush in my coffin. I am what I have become, a painter.